Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us for this edition of SBB University. I am delighted today to bring you an expert panel of aging in place resources. I'm going to start by doing some introductions with Miss Andrea Saratsky. She's with Gulf Coast Village and today is representing an arm of Volunteers of America called Senior Choice at Home. How are you this morning, Andrea?
Good, great, thank you. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been with Volunteers of America now for about 5 years. I'm the area director of sales and marketing. So I represent Gulf Coast Village, Senior Choice at Home, and the Preserve as well. So happy to be here and thrilled that I'm a part of the panel.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Now, Susan is coming to us from BrightStar Care. How are you this morning, Susan?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. I never want to mess up anyone's last name, and Susan's one of those that I've never been able to get. So tell us a little bit about your Susan and go ahead and tell everyone how to pronounce your last name.
Yeah. So I'm Susan Nimnuin. I'm the vice president here at BrightStar, and I've been here 8 years. So very excited to be on this panel today. Excited to share our expertise with the community and how we can help.
Wonderful. Thank you, Susan. All right, Mr. Gregory Nussbickel, how are you this morning? Coming to us from Nussbickel Elder Law.
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks for having me. And yeah, another person with a difficult last name that starts with N. So you got your work cut out for you today.
That's right. That's right. Now, you are relatively new to this area, but not to law. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a Florida attorney. I've been practicing for a little over 18 years now. I've been in this area pretty much that whole time. So I've been working in the Fort Myers and Naples area, concentrating exclusively nowadays on wills and trusts, probate, and elder law issues.
Awesome. Thank you, Greg. All right, Miss Sue Maxwell, how are you this morning?
Just fine, thanks. Great to be here.
So Sue is joining us from Harmonia The Club, which is the newest addition to adult daycare in the Naples area. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Sue.
Oh, well, gosh, I've been around for a long time. It seems like I'm probably the senior person on this panel here, and I'm so happy to be with all of you. I basically have been working in healthcare for the last 30 years and have a degree in gerontology. So I'm really happy to be back in the field working again and serving our senior population.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sue. All right, so we're going to dive right in. I'm going to start with you, Andrea. The acronyms, we use a lot of acronyms in senior living. Tell us what a CCRC is and what the difference between a brick and mortar CCRC and the program that you represent today, Senior Choice at Home, which is a CCRC without walls.
Okay, well, thank you, Amanda. So a CCRC is a continuing care retirement community, which offers all of the levels of care from independent living to assisted living to memory support to skilled nursing. So a continuum of care that's available to those that are a part of it. So a continuing care retirement community with walls is one that is governed by Chapter 651 of the Florida statutes. You purchase in typically into an entrance fee. There are 4 currently in Lee County, soon to be 5. Gulf Coast Village is one of those 4. And you have to physically pick your belongings up and move into a community with walls to receive that guarantee or life care component that should you run through your resources, you're with that community or with that with walls CCRC for life. Our particular program is a continuing care retirement community without walls, and it's called Senior Choice at Home, and we offer you that same identical type of contract inside your home. You don't have to pack, you don't have to move, you don't have to go anywhere. You have to be over 60 in order to join, and joining is predicated on your age. You receive the same life care benefits in your membership, as well as the full continuum of care if and when you should need it. So again, that particular entity is governed by Chapter 651 of the Florida statutes, just as the with walls is.
Right, and this program is designed to keep you in your home, aging in place successfully with care if you need it. Why don't you elaborate on that secondary piece? Because if you are unsafe to be at home and you need to go into an assisted living or a memory care community, regardless of where you live at that time, talk to us about what that next step looks like.
Right. So what occurs is you do receive that full continuum of care in your home. We try to keep you, when you join our program, your goal is to remain in your home for the rest of your life. We commit to keeping you in your home for the rest of your life. If at any time you do become unsafe in your home and we are no longer able to provide that care to you in your home, we have a process of determining what you would be eligible for as far as assisted living, memory support, and skilled nursing. Essentially, you do not have to come to one of our communities, our Volunteers of America family in Southwest Florida. You can go to any community you like. You receive a benefit amount, and I'm kind of just shortening this up a little. There's a lot more to it, but you receive your benefit amount in any community that you choose to go to once you do need that assisted living, memory support, or skilled nursing. And we do commit to care for you for the rest of your life, again, making that with our contracts that you are eligible for any level of care.
Yeah, and you're right. There's so much more that you could
So
allow.
much more to talk about. It's a
that
unique program. We're the only one of its kind in the state of Florida. So our biggest push is to educate people. I've been in senior living for over 30 years as well. So I can tell you some people in our industry don't even know about a continuing care at home program. There are 30 throughout the United States, and we're one in the state of Florida.
And one last question, and then we'll be back on the other round. But as far as cost goes, some people automatically assume that a continuing care retirement community is unaffordable and that you need $1 million to live in one. Talk to me about the difference with the in-home program with Senior Choice at Home. What's an average cost look like? And you can just give it a scenario.
Okay. So ballparking it's all predicated on your age. So the membership amounts are actuarially speaking priced out. So if you're 60 years old, it's going to be a higher than if you're 90 years old. We have 5 different plans. So just if you are, I'll just kind of say 70 years old and you want an all-inclusive plan, it could be probably $40,000 to join, which is about 25% of the cost of a with walls CCRC program. So, and then you do pay a monthly service fee as well, which is based on the plan. So on that particular plan, it would be about $600 a month. Again, 1/3 to 25% less expensive than going to a with walls community. So age is key here. The younger you join, the less expensive it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good guarantee. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
We'll be back with you in a moment.
Sure.
All right, Miss Susan. Now you represent in-home care. Now there are so many misconceptions between the differences in a private pay company, a Medicare certified home healthcare company, and a private duty home healthcare company. Do you want to go through those 3 scenarios for me?
Yes, so we are private duty home care. So for us, the big difference is we don't take Medicare, we don't take Medicaid, but I can take any insurance. Primarily, we'll take long-term care insurance, but I have worked with people and been able to explore benefits with private insurance. When you don't have insurance, then it is strictly private pay. So cash, check, credit card, whatnot. Our services range anywhere from companion care all the way through skilled nursing and therapies. So we have CNAs, home health aides, LPNs, RNs, PT, OT, and we can provide all of those services. And it's very much at the desire of the patient or their families, personalized, individualized, geared towards them and their specific needs. Whereas Medicare, when they come in, they have a plan to discharge. So their plan is to get you to a point where you're independent again with whatever care you needed. So if they come in to do a wound care or they're coming in for PT or OT, they're there for a certification period. They provide that service and then they move on. We do work in conjunction a lot with Medicare when they're done, but patients want to continue their progress, but Medicare has discharged them, we can continue that care. As well, Medicare will not send in a caregiver for a bulk amount of hours. So that's where we can come in and provide that as well. So we can come in short-term, long-term, anything in between. And then whatever your Medicare benefits are, I always explore that first and work with one of our partners in the community that are Medicare. But that's really how we're different. What was the first one you mentioned though?
Well, yeah, so there's some private duty agencies or registries that are companion only, whereas BrightStar, for example, offers that full opportunity for skilled care as well.
Yeah, so most of the agencies in the area are personal care or companion only. There are, a dozen or so that do skilled care. I think the benefit of going with an agency that has skilled care is as your needs change, you don't have to bring in another company. You're with one company that can grow with you. So if right now you just need a little bit of care, run you to the market or take you to your appointments. But as time goes on, maybe you need bed management or you need a little bit more personal care, hands-on care, or it gets to the point where you do need physical or occupational therapy. We're here and your care transitions with you. We grow right with you as you're aging in place, wherever that is. If you are in your private home, if you're at a facility, if you are residing with a loved one, we meet you where you are and grow with you. So that's the nice thing about having an agency that is full service.
Yeah, for sure. And also there are a couple different things that I want to ask you about when you're interviewing a private duty company such as yourself. It's really important to know what your strategy is on hiring your caregiver. So talk to us about your screening process and also talk to us about the care plan and how you determine who's going to be the best match for who they're caring for.
So we are very strict about who we hire. All of our caregivers or nurses have to have a minimum of 1 year experience in home care. I don't count facility care or caring for a family member. They have to have documented and verified references for in-home care. Our industry is so different. You're in the home, essentially by yourself, providing care, and God forbid there's an emergency, you have to be able to handle that. So we want really great, competent people. All of our nurses go out and create an individualized, personalized plan of care. So they work with the family, the patient. If there's a doctor that has a recommendation, any of that is formed into a plan of care. And when we're looking at assigning a caregiver to a client, we have what we call guaranteed compatibility. So we're looking, obviously, the schedule, availability, and then skill set and personality. So we do a lot at admission of clients to get to know them, their likes, their dislikes, what they're looking for in a caregiver. And we do the same with our caregivers when we hire them. What do you look for in a client? Where would you be happy? I don't want to send a chatty Cathy to a client who doesn't want a chatty Cathy or vice versa. So we look at the whole picture. So we want the client and the caregiver to be happy and it to be a thriving relationship. And that comes with having them be compatible.
It's very important. It really is. All right, Sue, we're going to move on to you. Now, you represent a wonderful program that gives an opportunity for folks that are suffering from like caregiver burnout to continue to age in place and not necessarily move into a community. So talk to me about exactly what an adult day program is and some of the activities that you guys offer there.
Well, Adult Day is really a unique experience. We have multiple activities offered to our members that help with socialization, fun, entertainment, cognitive development. We do a variety of things. So the person really is very busy during the day. It's pretty much going to a senior center, except ours is a little bit more skilled in taking care and trying to figure out where the person really belongs in that continuum. So it's kind of a fun day for everybody. Singing, dancing. Our men love to play cards. Uno is a hot topic here. Everybody loves Uno. We also, again, like singing and dancing, and we also had set up a golf course. People can play golf. So, I mean, there's a lot of fun things that they can do. And then we have people who really maybe don't want to do those kinds of things. And maybe they want to have more of a quiet senior day stay. And so we kind of really are able to tailor make some of our programs that fit everyone's needs. That's pretty much, it's kind of individualized care in a group setting.
Now, what is the difference between an assisted living community where someone goes to live versus your program?
Well, the adult daycare is really the very first beginning stage of someone who needs care. Perhaps the caregiver at work still works and they need someone to take care of them while they're working. So that helps out. So they can come here and stay then. Or let's say that the caregiver now needs special help and they realize that the person no longer can stay alone in a safe environment. So they come to the adult daycare. And one of the things we like to say is we don't call it senior care. We call it, this is the club where they come and they're a club member. So we call our clients members.
I love it. I love it. Now, there is another like aspect that you guys offer as far as payment options. Talk to us about the cost associated with coming to a place like yours and what type of payment options are available.
Okay. Traditionally, daycare is more affordable. And we have a full day program, which is $95. And we have a half a day program, which is $65. And in that program, it each includes lunch, snacks, all the different activities, anything that they need to regarding any kind of resources or programs to do any of the crafts that we have. So it's really very affordable.
Okay, wonderful. And it's all private pay?
It's private pay. Yes, we do have long-term care insurance. We have a couple of our clients who do have long-term care, and so that works out very well for them, and it really helps out. We also do provide, we don't provide it ourselves. We work with CAT, and then we can provide transportation for people to come to the daycare also. So that really is very nice.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Sue. All right, Greg, she's rolling us right into talking about long-term care. Now, I have a lot of questions for you. When it comes to aging in place, though, there are several documents that you need to have in place to just plan for retirement in general. Talk to us about some of those documents and what you would say are the most important.
Yeah, so at a absolute minimum, what people want to do is authorize their loved ones to be able to help out. So that may be a healthcare surrogate that allows someone to talk with their doctor and waive some of the confidentiality rules. And should a medical procedure be needed, you have the go-to person to make those decisions for you, to interact. Then there's kind of the financial side of things. So a good, strong power of attorney, not one of the old school kind of, general 1 or 2 pagers. Those aren't going to do a whole lot of good, but, a really comprehensive document that authorizes that agent to pay your bills and make transactions and to, deal with invoices and all of that can go a long way to smoothing things out. A lot of those things, can be made immediately effective so that you're not just waiting for a situation where that person is totally incapacitated. You can actually help out beforehand.
Now, a lot of folks here in the state of Florida are not residents they come back and forth. Talk to me about when you should switch your documents over to Florida and what makes our documents so different, because they are very different than, say, Wisconsin, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so every state has its own laws, right? So it's going to differ from one place to the other. And if you did your estate planning, let's say your will and your trust in some other state, and now you've changed your primary residence or your domicile to Florida, then there can be a disconnect. It doesn't mean that all your documents are, invalidated in that second, but they were set up under a different state's scheme. The definitions might be different. The default rules might be different. And they're just not going to work in the way generally that you'd like them to. So when you've made that decision and you become a Floridian, then you want to have a good fresh look at what you have, what you're trying to accomplish, and what planning opportunities that you have. Usually that means that you're going to update these documents, either amending them or restating them completely. But even that decision's a lot more nuanced. You know, do you become a Florida resident? When do you do that? What kind of tax implications is that going to involve? Thankfully, Florida is usually a positive on most of those things, but there's some, you know, twists and turns that happen with that. So you want to go in with your eyes open.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Now, if we're trying to protect our estate, what would your recommendation be for that?
So there's so many aspects to that also. There's protection from long-term care costs. So that can be an aspect of it. There's protection from the hassles and costs and difficulties of probate. There's protection against creditor claims that may come out there, bills piling up, judgments or liens or those kinds of things. And then, you know, it can go down through the generations. Are you concerned about making sure that your assets don't, you know, get diverted in places you didn't intend? They go to in-laws or other parties or to young people who may not be mature enough to handle these things. So there's a lot of concerns. Some are more big ticket items for individuals than others, you know, so it's all kind of a personal decision on that. But you want to take a look at it from the holistic approach and then see what your priorities are from there.
Yeah, very well said. Now, Andrea, Greg mentioned tax implications, and that just leads me to some questions because when you work with a continuing care retirement community, there are some tax benefits. Do you want to talk to us about the difference between moving into a bricks and mortar tax advantages to the continuing in your home continuing care retirement?
Okay, well, absolutely, there are tax advantages. So when you do move into a with walls retirement community, you're able to deduct a portion of your non-refundable entrance fee in the year in which you purchase in, as well as every year you're able to deduct a portion of your monthly service fee. With Senior Choice at Home, as a continuing care at home program, you're able to deduct all of your non-refundable portion of your membership fee, as well as up to 65% of your monthly service fee on an annual basis. So either with walls or without walls, you have tax advantages. Of course, we always tell you, consult with your tax professional. We don't know your particular situation, if you itemize or what the situation may be, but we certainly do have those advantages for when you do purchase into a CCRC continuing care retirement community.
Yeah, no, and that's huge to talk about because being proactive versus reactive is definitely something you have to do when you're looking into these communities. Speaking of that, I know that there are some stringent rules that you have to follow when you're coming in because you're guaranteeing that you're going to take care of somebody for the rest of their life. And they're even more stringent with the in-home program. So tell me what your financial and health restraints are when it comes to qualifying to move into these programs.
Thank you. Yes. So compared to the with walls, the bricks and sticks is a little less stringent than our at-home program or continuing care at home. We ask that you're 60 years old, that you do 2 cognitive assessments with us at application, as well as sign off that we do a 5-year look back on your medical history. If you have any type of a debilitating diagnosis, such as dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, any neurological condition, it may limit your plan options. So in other words, you must be relatively healthy to join our program. I would say out of 10 applicants, we often accept maybe 4 or 5 of those applicants. Whereas if you're looking at a bricks and sticks, we view you, if you're moving in as a couple, but we are taking far more risk by saying we'll care for you for the rest of your life in your home. So that's why we do our due diligence. Our medical director reviews your medical records as well as your cognitive scores, and then we recommend which plans you would be eligible for. So we kind of call that our underwriting process. And it takes up to, depending on how long it takes to get the medical records, up to 30 days.
Perfect. Now, as far as long-term care insurance goes, are you able to pay for Senior Choice at Home with long-term care insurance?
So the answer is no. However, if you do have long-term care insurance, we provide a discount for you off of our program whether you use your long-term care insurance or not, you receive that discount up front. So we do ask for a benefit summary page. If you do have the long-term care insurance, we do an analysis, and then we provide you with what the pricing would be. For the most part, those members of ours that have long-term care insurance pay a heck of a lot less than those that don't, but it certainly is not a requirement. It's a great option for those that don't have long-term care insurance. Again, to your point, this is having a plan in place.
Yeah.
This is a proactive choice. This is not a, I have an issue and now I need to join. If you need care at that point, you're probably not going to be eligible for our Without Walls program. So pre-planning is key. When's the best time to do it? Probably somebody has said at a seminar I did yesterday,
Yeah.
2 days ago. Today's the youngest you're ever going to be. So that's typically the least expensive it will be as well. So
that's for sure. Definitely for sure. All right, Susan. Now she talked about being proactive, and people can be proactive with home care as well. It's good to not wait until 5 o'clock on a Friday to get discharged from the hospital before you're making these decisions. So talk to me about being proactive and how people can get in touch. You know, what is your process with people that are not ready for care but are interviewing?
Well, we do a lot with people to be proactive. We tell everybody it's better to be signed up with an agency and call us when you're ready to pull the trigger versus it being that emergent situation and now you're trying to find and vet an agency. So we do in-home visits, which we call living room visits. We have a case manager that goes out. They will talk with the client's family, whomever's involved, talk about our services, answer any questions, and just get established. We sometimes will send out a nurse to do an assessment if they want at that point. Sometimes we will wait until they actually want to pull the trigger and get care. But we do a lot with people, letting them know you can start even with just a little bit of care now. Get on service, get known, get established with us, and heavens forbid you have something that happens where you need more in a last minute situation. You already know us, you already know our care team, you know our nurses. It's familiar to you versus that, oh my gosh, I need something right now. And we share that with all of our community partners so people know, you know, if someone's curious but not ready to get home care and make that decision, we're happy to go out and talk with them, share materials, give them information on what their options are. But people really should be exploring that sooner than later, whether that's them looking at like an agency versus a registry or even versus hiring privately. We try to share all of the knowledge now so that when they make a decision, they're making the most informed decision for themselves and their situation. Because a lot of people don't know really what they're taking on when they hire a private caregiver, or if they do go with a registry, those can be overwhelmingly.
Yeah. Do you want to touch on the differences between a private caregiver registry and an agency? Give us the Cliff Notes version of that.
Yeah, the easiest thing I can say is that with an agency, they're our employees. So they're licensed, bonded, and insured. We do their taxes, work comp, unemployment, all of that is covered with us. They're our actual employees. We do all of their training, maintain their credentials, A to Z. Registries don't do that. And then private also doesn't do that. In a private caregiver or a registry, the caregivers have to have their own license, bonding and insurance. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And then in a private setting, it's whatever the patient or family would want when they're finding that person. That also ties into background searches, scheduling. If you're private or registry and someone doesn't show up, who's handling that? So being with an agency for many reasons is really the better choice. You're secure all around. And, you know, we're thinking about the future and we want to grow with you.
Right. Yeah. Hiring the friendly clerk at Publix is, we've heard
Bad
some
idea.
stories there. All right. So going to wrap it back around to you. Now I know I've heard some folks that are, that have that guilt when they drop their loved one off. And it's so important to remember that you have to take care of yourself or you can't really take care of your loved one to avoid that caregiver burnout. What is some advice that you have for folks that are having that, the tug at their heart that they want to do this, they need the help, but they're having a hard time making that decision?
We deal with that pretty much with every new client that we have. Everyone comes and they say, well, I just want to look and I just want to see how I feel about it. And not quite sure I'm ready for this. But I think once they really get a chance to see what people actually do when they come to the daycare, they see people working and having fun and playing games, and they see that really maybe this is an opportunity for them. So what we suggest is a little bit at a little time. Don't come for 5 days. We say come for a couple days, see what happens, and then really see how the person feels. And actually, after the first couple days, people really pretty much feel like, whew, I've had an opportunity to play golf, go to the bridge club. I got my hair fixed. I had a doctor's appointment. I was able to do things for myself. And yet I don't feel guilty because when I came to pick up mom or my wife, she was happy. She was doing fine and she did okay. Now, there are cases sometimes where that doesn't always happen. But, what we try to do is to tell them we're the experts. We deal with this every day. So put your reliance in us that we can really help you. And our very first client, I love to tell the story about our very first client because we just opened in October and she was very hesitant to leave her husband and she only wanted to come 1 day. And so she decided to come 2 days and she did, and after the first week, she said, I think I'll try 3. And then before the end of the month, she was doing every day. She was coming in. She had the biggest smile on her face. She was so happy. And she said, I really had a hard time in the beginning, but now I feel very comfortable. So it just takes that one big step saying, okay, I need to do it because the caregiver has to realize I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Is there any other advice that you would give for folks that are on the edge?
No, I mean, like everybody has said, like Susan said too, it's don't wait until you really think you need it. I mean, you can, and Greg too, you can never plan enough. Planning is very, very important. So, if you have someone who lives in the house, who has the beginnings of dementia, the beginnings of Parkinson's, please investigate what things that you can do. You can wait until it's time that you need it, but don't wait until there's a crisis because then the issues really, then you can't really make a good decision. So we all want to work together with everybody to say, hey, it's time that you really think about it because you will need services sometime. It's just when.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's much better. I think all of us today, especially if you're wanting to age in place in your home, you've got to be proactive about it. So Greg, we're going to loop it back around to you. Now, a couple of questions that I had. One was, how can I plan to pay for long-term care for the rest of my life? This is a big one because if you're planning on staying in your home, what are some things that you can do to pre-plan and be proactive?
Yeah, so kind of sticking with that theme, it really is about giving that client as many options, as much choice as humanly possible. And our choices tend to narrow over time for various reasons. So there's health reasons and family reasons. And, the laws that we have in place today are, tending to get more and more restrictive and harder to qualify for some of these things. So, our focus, if someone comes into our office and they're concerned with the possibility of having to self-pay in a skilled nursing facility and they know what that might cost, then we're able to show them some techniques where they can take assets that they own in their own name and transition them to some kind of irrevocable trust or asset protection vehicle that would hopefully eventually insulate those assets from having to be spent down. And if they can get past that look back period, then, they have that option later that they can qualify for Medicaid when the time comes, if that's what they want. So if they're in a facility that has a Medicaid bed and, they've already qualified because they've done this planning ahead of time when the coast was clear, then they can go that direction. They don't have to. We're not forcing them to do these things. But if you get to it ahead of time, before there's any kind of incapacity, before that clock is really ticking and that condition is worsening, then you're able to do a whole lot. And there's a lot of fringe benefits to these things too. Just kind of as a bonus, you can avoid probate for these assets, and you can protect your own assets from creditors that may come down the pike. There could be a car accident. There could be, a business that's going under or a downturn in the economy, and you've got that extra added protection. And if you wait until the problem's on the horizon, it's usually too late.
Yeah, that can be said about a lot of things. All right, one last question for you. Talk to me about the different types of trusts that are out there and if they could ever be changed if you want to make a change to them.
So there's two main flavors, and within those, there's a whole lot of different variations, but you really concentrate on the revocable trust. So the living trust that most people are familiar with, that's used for just general estate planning, that you can amend or revoke or, change it at any time. As long as you're alive and competent, you're free to do that. You're generally the trustee in control of it to begin with. You're the beneficiary. So it's pretty freewheeling. You don't get a separate tax ID number. You can take assets in and out. It's kind of a no problem situation. But what it does not do, and this confuses people sometimes, is it does not protect your own assets from your own creditors. You can offer that protection to your beneficiaries, but not for yourself because you have total access and control. And it's not going to do any good if you're trying to qualify for Medicaid, because those assets in a revocable trust are going to be countable and accessible, and therefore, going to be a problem in that situation. So if you're looking for those other benefits, or if you're wealthy enough to have estate tax implications, maybe you have a lot of gain in assets that you're trying to deal with, and those irrevocable kind are the ones to look into. But yeah, you really can't change them. You're generally not the beneficiary, and your rule of thumb not really in control of those. But there's room to maneuver in a lot of those. You can have a certain amount of control if it's set up in a particular way. You can benefit kind of indirectly. You can build in flexibility within that irrevocable trust. So there's a lot more to it, but you want to know what your aims are first, and then see which one matches up given all the pluses and minuses.
Yeah, just like Andrea with Senior Choice at Home, this is a topic that we could probably go on and on and on about. And you're very correct in saying that there's a misconception between the two, because I love doing these. I learn something new every time. I didn't realize that an irrevocable one didn't protect you from like qualifying for Medicaid, for example. So here we go. I learned something new.
Well, yeah, the irrevocable is the kind that will move that around. Yeah, but the revocable kind, it's just you still. Yeah, and a lot of people have that misconception. A lot of people think a will is going to avoid probate. I think most people do, actually. So, it's starting from the beginning just to let them know what the reality is in that situation.
Absolutely. Well, we look forward to hearing from each and every one of you. Please put your questions in the comment box, and we will get back to you with any answers. So thank you guys all so much for joining us for this episode of Seniors Blue Book University. We'll see you next time.